Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so I know you guys have been waiting for this for a long time, as I know you have been requesting Dr. Arjun Pai to come back on this channel and enchant us, enlighten us with his deep Scorpio deep knowledge of astrology. So he's back again with another unique subjects on strength of planets and nakshatras, and he's also going to be doing some nakshatra consultations here for you too. So please welcome again Mr. Dr. Arjun Pai. Hello.
Hey, hi, Kapil. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, good
Finally,
to be back.
You show up again.
Yeah, it's always
After
good to be back
away.
on the channel. Yeah.
So, how is everything going with you on your side?
Fantastic. As we just discussed just before we went live, I've been doing multiple things in my life. I had to change my job. I had greater responsibilities to deal with. I was also running my Nakshatra course, the first batch. So I was coping up with that as well, doing the slides, the study material and all of that. And the last 2 months I've been, as I said to you, I've been traveling quite a bit, discovering India, going all over places. I've been to Andaman, went diving, scuba diving, and been to Mount Abu, went trekking, had been to one of the oldest temples of Guru Dattatreya.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, near Mount Abu. So I've been there. Then I was in Udaipur, Jaipur, Ajmer, Pushkar. Pushkar is a place where they say is one of the only Brahma temples around.
Right.
So yeah, so a lot of traveling and a lot of traveling coming up. I want to go to Haridwar, Rishikesh. Sometime in the
man, what's happening here? 9th house is activated or what?
Yeah, I think so. Why? Because partly why I'm traveling so much is I was disappointed this year, especially because me and my wife had planned to go down to Kailash Manasarovar. Okay, we had all the bookings done, and for Kailash trip you need to have a medical examination done. So we had done all of that, stress tests to show that you can cope up with the weather out there.
Yeah.
And then the Nepal earthquake happened, and
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had to can our plans because the tour was cancelled. So that was my plan for this year. Go to Kailash Manasarovar and to be at the foothills of Kailash, at the foot of Lord Shiva. And that didn't happen.
Yeah, because it's Kailash Parvat, right? The most famous.
Kailash. Yeah. That was my desire for this year, but that didn't happen. As a consolation, I've been traveling all over other places.
You're just like making up for it, huh? Yeah. Everything is all these places will mount up to Kailash Parvat.
Yeah, exactly. That's fun. That's what I've been.
Okay. So when do you travel next?
I'm traveling end of December, around about Christmas.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but I definitely would like to go to Kailash next year. Whenever they open up,
absolutely.
I definitely would go to Kailash.
Hey, nice. Absolutely great. Make some videos from it too.
Definitely.
So, what do you got for us today, Doc?
Okay, Kapil. What we did in the previous was we took just one nakshatra. Right. And today I want to do something different. I want to teach everybody a method of looking at the strength and weaknesses of planets. Okay. So partly why you do that is, see, a particular graha or a planet sitting in a particular nakshatra, can give varied results even in their dasha or whenever the transit activates it. Okay, but what is the propensity of it to give, how much of results depends on two factors. One is the qualitative factor, and another one is the quantitative factor. Okay, so you look at both of these from a qualitative perspective. You look at the avastha. Okay, what is the dignity of the planet which is sitting in a particular nakshatra, and what it is doing there in that nakshatra. And from a quantitative perspective, there are multiple different techniques that you can look at. I'm just going to touch on 2 of those techniques, rather 3 of them, which are very, very, very important when you're talking about nakshatras.
Okay.
Okay. So I think let's get the
slide up.
Slides. Yeah,
okay.
Slides up, and then we can.
Let me see here, and then. Uh-oh, it's not doing a screen share on my thing here.
Do you want me to try? Yeah.
Yeah, try see if your thing clicks. I'm clicking on everything. Okay, that works. And then screenshot. Wait, no. Screen share is not working. My screen share is the only thing that's not working. Everything else works.
Yeah, the same here with me. Oh, wait, hold on. I think it. Is this working here now?
No, that's my screen you're showing.
Oh.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, oh, it came and went. Yes. Now we got it.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. Is it clear?
Yes, it's perfectly clear.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. So the lesson for today, Kapil, is I want to teach a method to measure the strength and weaknesses of planets. Okay. So that is going to be the session for today. Now, what is the presentation outline today is, one, I'm going to talk about what are the different ways of looking at strengths and weaknesses of planet, how to judge or measure how strong a planet is or how strong a graha is when it's in a particular place. Okay. So out of that, I'm going to talk about Vargottamsha or Vargottama Navamsa. Okay. I'm going to talk about Pushkara Navamsa. Okay. And I'm going to talk about Pushkara Bhaga. Right. So whenever I go through these concepts, I'll be very slow. I'll be taking a lot of illustrative charts, but this is very, very, very key, because certain times what happens, people say, I have a debilitated planet. Right?
Yeah.
But for example, let us say you have a debilitated Jupiter. Okay. Now, if you do not know all the concepts associated with Jyotish, which is very difficult during a lifetime, but the basic concepts, if they are not clear, then certain times whenever you say, okay, my Guru Dasha I think is going to come and I think it is debilitated, and so it should go very bad.
Right.
But whenever the Guru Dasha comes, you see a phenomenal rise which happens in people's life, right? That is very strange.
Yeah.
So why do these things happen? Okay. So one of the reasons that you can see is Jupiter reaches its deep debilitation at 5 degrees in Capricorn.
Right.
However, whenever it reaches 6 degrees 40, okay, whenever it reaches 6 degrees 40, or if it falls in 6 degrees 40 to about 11 degrees, then in Capricorn, between 6 degrees 40 to roughly about 11 degrees, it doesn't give debilitation results. Okay? Yeah. Why is because besides these concepts, there is also that zone of the zodiac becomes the Pushkara Navamsa Pada. Okay? So Pushkara means, Pushya means to nourish, to nurture. Okay, Kara means to do. Okay, or Pushkara is another meaning is it is a blue lotus. So it is like a lotus which blooms. Right. So yeah. So that is why these zones are called as zones of fortune. Right. So even a planet, if it falls at 6 degrees, a Jupiter. Okay, if you do not look at the degrees, you would say, okay, Jupiter is debilitated. You look at only at the Rashi, right? Yeah. But when you look at the degrees, you will understand that it is in Pushkara. Secondly, that zone becomes extremely powerful for Jupiter. Why? Because that becomes the Abhijit Nakshatra, the virtual Abhijit Nakshatra
The 28th nakshatra.
Yeah, the 28th nakshatra actually falls in between 6°40, which is, you know, the starting of the fourth pada of Uttarashada, and 1/5 of Shravana. 1/15th part of Shravana. So that is about 1°53 or something like that. 53 minutes. So roughly from 6°40 to about 10°53 minutes, you know, this is the zone. Whenever Jupiter falls in this region, then it doesn't ever you know, work as a debilitation. Okay, so this is one of the concepts that I will be going to explain. Similarly, when you look at Venus, okay, Venus reaches its deep debilitation at 28 degrees in Virgo. Okay, but 28 degrees is Chitra Nakshatra second pada, and Chitra Nakshatra second pada I'll show you that it is a Pushkara Navamsa. So Venus will, although can give you issues related to relationships, because you know Venus is connected with relationships. It can give you some issues, but the other elements of Venus are extremely strengthened. Okay, pleasure loving, you know, interest in art, museum, you know, everything which the karaka of Venus is extremely strengthened. Okay, so let me explain those concepts as we go through. Okay, now what I was saying there is earlier is looking at the strength and auspiciousness, okay, or measuring of the strength or judging a planet is done through two methods. That is, one is qualitative method and another one is a quantitative method. So this is a very systematic approach. I'm going to explain the entire concept. So I told you the qualitative means depends on the avastha or the dignity of the planet which is sitting there, right? Now, whenever you look at the quantitative methods, there are two methods. Okay, one is the Shadbala method. Shadbala is the six-fold strengths of planets. Okay, this is a very prudent method where 6 different elements are looked at, like Sthanabal, which is positional strength of planets. Digbal, which is directional strength. Okay, Drishtibal or Drigbal, you know, strength of planets by aspects. Chestabal, which is motional strength of planets. Naisargik Bal, Bal means strength. Okay, natural strength of planets, and Kalabal, which is a temporal strength of planets. So there are, you know, each of these planets, whenever they sit there, they are given rupas based on certain parameters, and that is called, and the method to look at it is called Shadbala, which is a 6-fold strength of planets. So that is the most appropriate method to use. Okay. However, there are other non-Shadbala methods as well that you can look at for quick analysis, because Shadbala, to work it out, you either need a software or you need to do a lot of calculations. Right? Okay. So it's a very cumbersome thing if you have to calculate everything, but today most of the software give that details to you. Okay. So Shadbala is one of the things, but other methods which are non-Shadbala methods are generally classified. So what we typically do, you look at the strength of the lord of the Rashi in which the planet is posited. Okay. So if there is Venus which is sitting in Aries, right? What you look at is what is the strength of Mars, because you know Mars is the ruler of, you know, Aries. So you say what is the strength of Mars and what strength it is giving to the planet Venus which is sitting there, and then other things come, you know, enmity, all of that. Okay, enmity between planets and Rashis. Another method is looking at the Lord of the Navamsa, where the Lord of the Navamsa is gone for the planet. Okay. Then there are other things.
So strength of Lord of Namansha sign Lord. So if let's say Venus is in sign of Taurus or sign of Gemini, Namansha, so you look at Mercury's position in Namansha, you're saying?
Absolutely right. So you look at what is the strength of Mercury in Navamsa.
Okay.
Right. So this is one of other methods. And then other concepts like Marana Sthana, which is the second and the seventh house from any house becomes the Marana Karaka, Marana Sthana. There is also another concept of Marana Karaka Sthana. Okay, so that
like
also
how Sun goes into the 12th house and becomes Marana Karaka.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, Marana Karaka. So that also, when it goes to 12th house, it loses its strength. Okay, that is what. So there are multiple ways. Then there is combustion. Whenever any planet comes very close to the sun, then it becomes combust.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that is another way. It loses its strength. Then there is something called as Graha Yuddha, which is planetary war. When two planets which are enemies, which are sitting very close degreeally, then they are supposed to be in a sort of a war or a battle,
right?
Planetary war. It's called Graha Yuddha, right? So that also weakens the planets, which are actually fighting between each other whenever they're very close. Then there is concept of Argala, which many people talk about. Which concept I have not studied, so I can be very open about it. I do not know about Argala concept.
Yeah, it's how malefic planets, 2nd, 4th, and 11th from any planet can cause
Obstructions, yeah. And there is Veda as well. There is Veda concept as well.
One thing I wanted to ask you, especially regarding the E, what I have seen, especially when we talk about planetary war, is that Mars and Saturn, as much as they create a planetary war, they somehow make a person very strong in terms of fighting the battles. I don't know what your opinion is on, especially with Mars and Saturn. I'm like, even though it's in war, the person is like either an athlete, engineer, and does very well in fighting and making things happen in their life.
Yeah. See, from a Nadi perspective, when you look at Saturn, Saturn is karma karak. Okay, it disciplines you. Yeah. And Mars is action, right?
Yeah.
So whenever these two planets comes, although at Graha Yuddha, okay, it can create problems in the houses wherever they are posited. Okay, wherever they conjunct, that house gets. But wherever the dispositor goes, that becomes very key. That house. Okay, dispositor of wherever Saturn and Mars are together.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to watch out for that house. So anyway, there are multiple things. Let us not go there. Argala, there is Aruda concept and all of that. But today I'm going to talk about Vargottama concept, which is, Varga means divisional charts.
Yeah.
Okay? Uttama means supreme.
Yeah.
So whenever a planet falls in the default mode is whenever a planet falls in the radix D1 chart or the radix Rashi chart, and if the planet falls in the same sign in the Navamsa chart, then it is called Vargottama.
Right.
Okay. But I have to put a caveat there saying that it is not only between Navamsa chart and Rashi chart that you look and say it is Vargottama. Vargottama concept can be used across all divisional charts. So only thing what it means, Vargottama means is there is a lot of alignment between your physical body, which is your Rashi chart, and your Navamsa, which is your chart when you look at for your spouse or for your partner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the same concept can be applied if a planet is sitting in the Rashi chart in a particular sign, and if it is sitting in the same sign in the Shamsa, which is D10, which is for career. Okay. Then also it is called Vargottama.
Right.
Okay. Absolutely. The concept is it is called Vargottama, but now the focus is between the Rashi chart and the Shamsa chart, so that planet becomes extremely powerful. Okay, what it means is basically Vargottama means is whenever some events are being triggered, okay, in your Rashi chart, it is simultaneously triggered in the Navamsa or the divisional chart.
Okay.
Okay, so that is why they become supreme. They become extremely powerful to give.
Even if a planet is debilitated.
Even if a planet is debilitated, I'll come. Even if a planet is debilitated, it can be it can give supreme results during the dasha, the Vimshottari dasha of that planet.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Then the next concept I'm going to talk about Pushkara Navamsha and Pushkara Bhaga. Okay. So basically what I want to say about Pushkara Navamsha is the note I've given there is it behaves in a very auspicious manner. Now Pushkara Navamsha and Pushkara Bhaga, if I have to give strength to planets, if I have to give some scoring, it is in terms of rupas. Okay.
Rupas and virupas, yeah.
Virupas, yeah. So 1 rupa is equal to 30 virupas.
Right.
Right. So an exalted planet in any chart, I would give 1 rupa. Okay. And a Vargottama planet also I give 1 rupa. Okay. Pushkara Navamsha also I give one rupa. But if it is Pushkara Bhaga, then I give 2 rupas. Why? Because it becomes doubly exalted when it falls at Pushkara Bhaga means the zone or the region.
Okay.
Whenever this, So whenever they fall at a particular degree, okay, that is when they become extremely powerful.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, let's go to the now. When you look at Vargottama, so 12 out of 108 nakshatra quarters or nakshatra padas are considered as Vargottama, which means, as I explained, a planet when it occupies an identical Rashi as well as a Navamsha, okay, it is called as Vargottama. That planet becomes Vargottama. Okay, Varga means divisional chart, Uttama means supreme. That is what it means, right? Now, whenever how do you use this is whenever a respective Karaka Graha, okay, they give very strong effects. I'm saying effects during their Vimshottari Dasha. So if Jupiter is falling in a Vargottama, okay, during his Dasha, okay, or Antar Dasha, it can activate that house. It can activate the house, both in your Rashi chart as well as in Navamsha chart.
Okay.
Okay. And these grahas, what you have to remember is the effects are highlighted not only in the native's life, but also in its partner's life. Okay. So what happens? It happens in parallel. So whenever it is activating some house in your Rashi chart, it is simultaneously activating the same house in your Navamsha chart, and whatever house that represents in your Navamsha, which means Navamsha means your life partner's chart, or your business partner's life.
Right.
It is activating the same house. Okay, so that is why it gets additional strength. Now, here what I've given you is a table. Okay, so you can take one sign. Okay, one Rashi, one sign is divided into 9 Navamsha padas. Okay, which is 3 degrees 20 minutes each. Each pada is 3 degrees 20. That is 1 quarter.
Right.
Okay, of the 108. So there are 12 signs, and there are 9 Navamsha padas that equals to 108 nakshatra quarters, or nakshatra padas. Okay.
Right.
Now, for all movable signs, okay, the first pada of that Rashi becomes Vargottama pada. All movable signs. Okay. Similarly, all fixed signs, the 5th pada becomes Vargottama. And for all dual signs, the 9th pada of that Rashi or of that sign becomes Vargottama. Okay.
So you simply mean, okay, the pada, I know people could be confused with this. The 5th pada you mean because each nakshatra has 4 padas. So you
Correct.
mean to say that especially for the pada 5 for the fixed sign would be the 2nd nakshatra pada 1 in the same zodiac sign.
Okay. Yeah. I knew that this question will come up. So
yeah.
I've taken
I'm just trying to clear it for the people because I got it.
Yes.
But I just wanted to let people know that each nakshatra is divided into 4 parts known as padhas. So in the same zodiac sign, the fifth pada would simply be the next nakshatra, but the first pada of the nakshatra.
Exactly, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so let's take an example to explain you this.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take Aries as a sign, which is a movable sign.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aries, you have Ashwini Nakshatra, pada 1, pada 2, pada 3, and pada 4. Okay, and then Bharani 1, 2, 3, 4, and Kritika 4.
Okay, yeah, there you
go. Okay, yeah. So below you can see I have divided it into padas, the 9 padas for Aries below, and so it is a movable sign, and that is why, and I said for all movable signs, the first pada becomes Vargottama. So yeah. So what happens here is Ashwini Nakshatra first pada, whatever planet falls in that pada becomes Vargottama.
Okay.
Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. So basically, that is what I wanted to show you. Okay.
Okay.
Let's take another example. Let's take Scorpio as a sign. So Scorpio starts with the first Navamsa pada is Vishaka Nakshatra fourth pada.
Right.
For Scorpio. Okay. Then it is Anuradha first pada, Anuradha second pada, Anuradha third, fourth, and Jyeshta 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Now Scorpio is a fixed sign. Okay. So Anuradha 4, which is pada 5. I said pada 5 for all fixed signs, pada 5 becomes Vargottama. So here go to pada 5 and it's a fixed sign. And so Anuradha pada 4 becomes Vargottama pada.
Right.
Okay. Does these two examples explain?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, if it has a dual sign, let us take an example. I have not given it here. Let us take a dual sign like Gemini.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Gemini, it is a dual sign. So what pada becomes Vargottama pada? For
the ninth pada,
yes. The ninth pada is Punarvasu third.
Yeah.
Okay. Punarvasu Nakshatra third pada becomes the ninth pada for a dual sign Gemini.
Yeah.
Okay. And Punarvasu fourth falls in Cancer. Okay. So Punarvasu third becomes Vargottama pada. Okay. So this concept is very clear. So
yeah.
If it is movable, it is first pada of that Rashi. If it is fixed sign, it is the fifth pada, and if it is dual sign, it is the ninth pada. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the. So here, what I've done is I've given you all the Nakshatras and their Vargottama padas. Okay.
Okay.
So for movable signs, there are 4. For fixed signs, there are 4, and for dual signs, Dvisvabhava Rashis, there are 4. Okay. And the ones in brackets are the padas. So there's Ashwini in bracket, I've given 1. Punarvasu, I've given in bracket 4. Okay. So that way.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So what do these Vargottama planets do? They bring some strength and some steadiness and give solid success. That is what that is why they are called as Uttama, Vargottama. Right?
Yeah.
Now let us take an example here. I said Venus in Chitra Nakshatra second pada. Okay, that falls in Virgo. Okay.
Right.
And deep debilitation of Venus is 28 degrees, which is in Chitra Nakshatra second pada. Okay. Now look at the Karakatva of Venus. Okay. So Karakatva of Venus, okay, because it is debilitated, it becomes weak. So this typically may indicate that could be issues in relationships, or if the native is married, could be issues in marriages. Okay. But however, because it is Vargottama, the partner of that native could be quite crafty or cunning.
Right.
Okay. So this could mean either the native, or because Venus Karaka of wife or partner, can also show interest in arts, photography, films, music, interior designing, architecture, okay, gemology. I've seen this in some of the charts. Clothing and jewelry making. I've seen this as well.
Yeah, because Chitra is actually the nakshatra of jewelers
Yes,
and jewelry makers.
jewelry, yes, because it is represented by a diamond.
Diamond jewels, yeah.
Yeah, jewels. So jewelry making and gemology is also associated with this. So looking at just a Venus which is debilitated, and Venus is Karaka for even diamond. Okay.
Yeah.
So whenever you do gemology, diamond. So Chitra is there. So gemology is also comes under this. So architecture.
So looking from a perspective of like a student, they will ask you, why is it that Venus being the karka of so many things, but only the marriage karka is being damaged versus the karka which represented by arts and media and diamonds and jewelry, because they're also it's the karka category of Venus.
Yeah, yeah.
So why only marriage is being damaged versus all the other karka that it represents?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and the answer lies, Kapil, in a system which was taught by S.K. Mehta, the great S.K. Mehta from Delhi. Okay, so he said, whenever a planet is spoiled or it is not giving its result, you have to look at Jiva Karaka and Ajiva Karaka. So what it does is here Venus, it spoils the Jiva Karaka. Jiva Karaka means what is living things.
Okay.
Yeah, living, and then there is animate things. So Jiva Karaka is wife, business partner, or Venus, whatever is signifies.
Girlfriends and
girlfriends, girlfriend, relationships, all of that. So the Jiva Karaka aspect it has spoiled, but the Ajiva Karaka aspects, what are interest in art, pleasure making, architecture, gemology, all of these it enhances.
Okay.
Does that explain?
Yes.
Okay. So because of the Vargottama concept, it enhances the Ajiva Karaka, and the Jiva Karaka it can affect, I'm saying, depending on the other combinations in the chart. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go and take an example here. I've taken the example of Woody Allen. Okay. Woody Allen, an American comedian, writer, he's a film director, and many people do not know he's also a musician, and he's very gifted as well as a musician. He often plays his clarinet in a club in Manhattan. That's what is written about him in Astro Data Bank. Okay, so all the Ajiva Karakas are very strong in his chart.
Yeah.
Okay, which is playwriting, music, screenwriting, film direction. See, anybody who is associated with the film industry or movie industry, you have to know that Venus has to be strong in their chart. Otherwise, it is impossible for them to become great in the movie industry. And even Rahu. Rahu and Venus. Rahu and Venus have to be, because Rahu is illusion. Rahu is smoky. Okay, it is you have to have a strong Rahu and you have to have a Venus. So obviously, if you had a weak Venus, then he wouldn't have been so popular as a writer or a comedian, okay, or actor. But having said that, if you look at his other side of things, that he had 3 marriages or 3 wives,
right?
And look at the controversy that his living partner now, I believe, was his stepdaughter or something like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, she was way too young for him, and there was some interrelation there too.
So I think he was 52 years and she was only about 23 or something like that. A huge difference. There was So Venus is creating some problems in the Jiva Karaka aspect of the native here, and especially you see Venus is sitting in the 2nd house of family life.
Right.
Okay. But having said that, look at the Ajiva Karaka of Venus, the Karaka of Venus, which represents the Ajiva, which is animate things. He loves shopping for antiques. He loves visiting art galleries, okay, and museums. And it is written that he loves to play the clarinet.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, what I wanted to show you is all the Ajiva Karakas are extremely powerful, or they have given a boost in this chart.
Is this something how similar to Amitabh Bachchan's chart, where he has a debilitated Venus combust in the 8th house, and yet he is the king of the kings.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that is when, see, some people won't be able to explain why in the 8th house and Venus is debilitated and how he has become a superstar.
Yeah.
Maybe this concept or the Vargottama concept or a Pushkara Navamsa concept could explain.
Yeah. Also, Venus in the 8th house or associated with the 8th lord makes a person a legend as well. So he had that legendary characteristics. So.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's go. So that is, now you understand the concept of Vargottama? Okay, it's very clear. Let's go to the next concept, which is Pushkara Navamsa. Okay, now this is also called as Pushyakaraka. Okay, another word for Pushkara Navamsa is called Pushyakaraka or Pushkara Rajakaraka. It is also called. Okay, Pushya means, the word Pushya means nourishment or nurturing. Okay, so Pushkara means to nurture and to do good, right? Rajakaraka means whatever planet which falls there, they become auspicious, extremely auspicious, and they become very fortunate. So they give results of exaltation whenever they fall there. The results of exaltation, and they become highly benevolent. Okay, so there are 24 nakshatra quarters which are Pushkara Karakas, which means for each sign or each Rashi, there are 2 Pushkara Karakas. Okay. So 2 into 12, for 12 Rashis, there are 24.
Okay. So there are 24 points which are good and aspirations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. 24 padas. Okay. 24 padas. Out of 108 nakshatra padas in the zodiac, 24. So each Rashi has 2.
Okay, and then when you use the word Pushkara Navamsa and you're talking about transit, is this simply you're talking about the birth chart aspect, or you're also somehow bringing in the Navamsa chart itself as well with these points?
Yeah. See, not Navamsa, I'm talking about Rashi chart only.
It's the Rashi chart, it's just the vocabulary Pushkara Navamsa.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's a Rashi chart. So whenever I have put there, whenever there is a transit of Karaka Graha, which happens through the Pushkara Bhaga. Pushkara Bhaga is a degree. It's a degree. Okay. Or whenever it passes through Pushkara Navamsa, also in the dasha of that nakshatra, it can be very strong or powerful. Very strong. It can, propensity to give results are very, very, very high. Okay. Okay. So let us go. And Pushkara Bhaga, as I said, is doubly exalted. Okay. Whenever any planet falls there, it becomes doubly exalted. So extremely powerful. Right? Okay. Now, which of the ones are Pushkara Navamsa? Okay. So what I've said here is all watery signs. Okay. The first pada and the third pada becomes Pushkara Navamsa padas. Okay. Okay. So first, what I've shown you above. Okay. Whenever I'm referring to first and third means you have to remember I'm talking about these padas here. Okay? Right. First and third. Okay. Whatever nakshatra falls in the first and third, out of the 9, they become Pushkara Navamsa. Okay. Right. So for all the watery signs is first and third. For all the earthy signs, it is third and fifth. Okay? And for all the airy signs, is sixth and eighth. And for all the fiery signs, is seventh and ninth. Now, this becomes very difficult for somebody to remember. Correct? Right. So what I've done is below in the notes, I've simplified that by saying, now if you want to remember this, okay, remember this way, the first pada and the fourth pada of all sun nakshatras become Pushkara Navamsa. First pada and the fourth pada of all sun nakshatras. Which are the sun nakshatras? Sun ruled nakshatras. Kritika, Uttara Falguni, and Uttarashadha are sun ruled nakshatras. Okay. So first pada and fourth pada of sun nakshatras become Pushkara Navamsa. The second pada and the fourth pada of Jupiter nakshatras become Pushkara Navamsa.
Okay.
Second pada and fourth pada of Jupiter Nakshatras. Okay. So which are Jupiter Nakshatras? Punarvasu, Vishaka, okay, and Purobhadrapada. Okay.
Right.
Now for all the third padas, okay, of Venus Nakshatras. Okay. So Bharani third pada, Puro Falguni third pada, Purvashada third pada. All of them become Pushkara Navamsha. Okay? Yeah. And Rahu, the fourth pada of Rahu Nakshatras become Pushkara Navamsha, and the second pada of Moon and Saturn becomes Pushkara Navamsha.
Okay.
Okay? Okay? So this is easier to remember. So what you have, the key what I observe here is Sun Nakshatras and Jupiter Nakshatras become more powerful, because if you have more planets sitting there, why? Because there are two padas within the four padas which are Pushkara Navamsha padas. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Because for the Sun it is the first and the fourth pada, and for Jupiter it is the second and the fourth pada. Okay. Right. So 50% of the Sun and the 50% of the Jupiter Nakshatra are Pushkara Navamsha. So they have greater propensity to give good results. Okay. Now, very important observation: no Pushkara Navamshas in Mercury, Mars, and Ketu Nakshatras.
Right.
Okay. Now, how to remember that? Ketu. Let's take an example. First Ketu Nakshatra, Ashwini. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. First Mars Nakshatra is Mragashir. Now, Ashwini is number 1. Okay. Mragashir is the 5th nakshatra.
Yeah.
And the last nakshatra, the first nakshatra amongst Mercury is Aslesha, which is number 9.
Yeah.
So, all nakshatras, when you do a chart, 1, 5, 9 are nakshatras do not have Pushkara Navamshas.
Okay.
Okay. So, that is why you see Mercury and Ketu typically nakshatras are called as Gandanta zones.
Yeah.
Okay, they are Gandamula nakshatras or Gandanta nakshatras. And Mars, as such, okay, can be a very fiery nakshatra. It's a natural, malefic, and so these nakshatras do not have any Pushkara Navamsha.
Okay.
Now, two things what I wanted to point out here is 3 amongst the 24 Pushkara Navamsha padas becomes both Pushkara Navamsha as well as Vargottamsha, which is Rohini second pada, Punarvasu fourth pada, and Uttarashada first pada. So remember these 3 becomes extremely powerful because they are not only Vargottama but they are also Pushkara Navamsha.
I see. Okay.
Okay. So remember these.
Is that the part that Pushkara, the B part that you're saying it becomes the maximum strength?
Yes.
Those are the positions you're talking about here.
Yes.
Okay.
Point number 2 here, what I'm showing.
Okay.
So Rohini second pada, Punarvasu fourth pada, and Uttarashada first pada are both Vargottamsha padas and as well as Pushkara Navamsha padas.
Okay.
So they're double strength. Okay. And I will come to Pushkara Bhaga, but just remember this, that Rohini second pada, okay, exactly at 14 degrees, it not only becomes Pushkara Navamsha, it not only becomes Vargottamsha, it also becomes Pushkara Bhaga.
Okay.
So 14 degrees, okay, is where any planet which falls, it becomes extremely powerful zone of the entire zodiac.
In any sign or
no, I mean in Taurus. In 14 degrees
Taurus only. Okay.
Yeah, in Taurus.
Okay.
Why? Because it is a Pushkara Bhaga, so it gets double exaltation result. Okay.
Okay.
Then it becomes Rohini second pada. Rohini second pada, as I said above, is Pushkara Navamsha as well as Vargottamsha.
Okay.
So it has got potential to give a lot of good results. So In our Shastras, it is believed that Shri Krishna had his moon and ascendant in Rohini second pada at 14 degrees. Now, I cannot go and correlate, but you can see, it makes you an emperor.
Yeah.
I will show you a chart later on, which is not Sri Krishna's chart, but I'll show you how it can give you the result in one's lifetime.
Okay.
Right? One I'm going to show you, which is Rohini second pada.
Okay.
Okay. So you got the concept now?
Yeah, I got it.
Vargottama, Pushkara Navamsa, and Pushkara Bhaga I'll explain to you.
Yeah. So there's only one Pushkara Bhaga position in the entire zodiac.
There are 12 Pushkara Bhaga positions in the zodiac, one per Rashi. Okay, let me go there because we'll be discussing this. So you asked me the question, let me go there and then I'll come to the illustration. Okay, here you go. Now, as per Jataka Parijat, okay, Adhyaya 1, Sloka number 58, it gives certain zones or degrees, specific degrees in specific Rashis, saying that whenever any planet falls here, okay, then it will give double exaltation results. Okay. So there are 12 of them. So each Rashi has 1 degree in it, which becomes Pushkara Bhaga. For Aries, it is 21 degrees. Okay. Leo, it is 19 degrees. Okay. Sagittarius, it is 23 degrees. Okay. So Taurus, 14 degrees. Now Taurus 14 degrees becomes Rohini second pada. That's what I wanted to say about.
Yeah.
Okay. It falls in Rohini second pada. Okay.
Okay.
But so you can look at these degrees and see if any planet is falling here, irrespective of if it is a malefic, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the Dushtana lords or whatever.
Yeah.
It will be extremely powerful to give very good results.
Okay.
Pushkara Bhaga.
So much information in Vedic astrology. It is just
yes. So until you go deep into it, you won't be able to understand.
Yeah.
So just there is no other way to, you just have to know these. Yeah, you have to.
There's no shortcuts. Yeah.
There's no shortcuts. You have to know these degrees. And so for each sign, there is 1 degree. That's it. 1 degree it's been given. So Cancer, it is 8 degrees. Okay. So just remember those degrees. Anyways, let's go to some illustrations.
Okay.
Now, I've taken this chart of Bill Clinton. Okay. Now, what I wanted to show about Bill Clinton's chart is his moon. Okay, is in Kritika first pada. Okay. Now, Kritika first pada becomes a Vargottama pada.
Right.
Okay. Oh, sorry, it becomes a Pushkara Navamsa.
Yeah,
it's a Pushkara Navamsa. Now look at in his chart, Moon is the 11th Lord. Okay, Moon is the 11th Lord. Now 11th Lord is also in BPHS, Brahat Parashara Vara Shastra. It is said 11th house. You also see spouse and children from the 11th house.
Yeah.
Okay, so spouse and children. So if you look at in his chart, Moon goes to the 8th house of sexual scandals in Kritika Nakshatra. Okay, and I have done Kritika Nakshatra before on your channel.
Yeah.
And I have shown you that it is Agni, and Agni's lust for for the Saptarishis wives.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the same theme which is coming here. But what I wanted to show you with this Pushkara Navamsa is, despite the scandals and the womanizing that people know about, okay, he has his marriage intact.
Yeah.
His daughter has not left him. His wife has not abandoned him. There's not been a divorce, and especially in a country like US, where just as a drop of the hat you have a divorce which happens.
Yeah.
Okay, anything, and in his case it has not happened. Right. So if you look at his chart, because Moon is sitting in Pushkara Navamsa, although his marital life might have gone through a lot of highs and lows, and even during his time when he was the president, he was impeached, okay, and he was humiliated, okay, he was humiliated, okay, and it humiliated his wife and children, but it didn't give a break in his relationship. Okay,
right.
So basically, what I wanted to show you is Pushkara Navamsa is playing his role. Although things have happened, panned out in his life, but the undesirable has not happened. Okay. Anyway, let's go to the next. Okay. Mahatma Gandhi. Again, he has a retrograde Jupiter sitting in Kritika first pada, which is the Pushkara Navamsa pada. Okay? Now, what I wanted to show you here is this is Libra Lagna. Okay? Jupiter becomes the 6th lord of enemies. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Enemies is sitting in Pushkara Navamsa in the 7th house. 7th house, you always look at the 7th house for opponent. Your opponent is always seen from the 7th house.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is Jupiter. Jupiter is a very, you know, a guru planet. Okay. So it gives you, it has to give you good results. Okay. It has to give you good results. But here it is the 6th lord. It is the 3rd lord and 6th lord. For anybody, you would say 3rd lord and 6th lord. Irrespective whether it is Jupiter also, it can give you very bad results. Jupiter
right.
can give you extremely bad results. If it is a functional malefic. But look at what he is called. He is known as Mahatma, a great soul.
Yeah.
Okay. See, Jupiter is Jiva Karak. Okay. It represents the soul, Jiva, which means giving life. His Jupiter is exalted, or gives the results of being exalted. That is why he's called as Mahatma, isn't it? A great soul.
Yeah.
Otherwise, do you think a functional malefic can give you a good result like this?
Right.
Okay. Secondly, it is the 6th lord of enemies. Okay. And look at us, Jupiter is aspected also by Mars. Okay. Mars, Venus, and Mercury.
Lord, yeah.
Yeah. It's aspecting the 7th house with the 7th aspect, Mars. However, all his freedom movement was linked to non-violence. Okay, Satyagraha. Okay, how is it possible when Mars is aspecting it? Okay.
Right.
Anyway, okay. Thirdly, it is sitting in a Marana Sthana, Marana Karakasthana, 7th house.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was assassinated by a Hindu gunman, Jupiter, Hindu, Nathuram Godse.
Right.
Okay.
So enemy was, so yeah, but this is what I was thinking too before you got to this point, because 6th house, which is enemies, shows if Jupiter is in this point of Pushkara Navamsa, meaning that enemy has to be just as strong.
Enemy
as
was
him.
equally.
An enemy was strong enough to kill him.
Enemy was very, very strong enough to kill him. You see, okay, but if you see, it is retrograde, which means enemy had to finally go back.
Go back to where it was, yeah.
Yeah. And you see the dispositor of Jupiter, Nakshatra dispositor I'm talking about. Nakshatra dispositor is Sun of Kritika. It has gone to the 12th house.
Yeah.
Exit 12th house. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is, enemy is, if it was direct, then it could have been very difficult. In this chart, it is retrograde. That is why they had to return.
Yeah.
It was this man's chart, okay, which gave us the freedom.
Right.
Okay. So if Jupiter was direct, do you think the enemy would have been extremely powerful, right?
Yeah.
So here it is retrograde. Okay, no doubt, extremely powerful enemy, but it is retrograde. So eventually they had to back off.
Okay.
Okay. Retrograde means moving backwards.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, retrogression. Okay. Anyway, so that is what I wanted to show you here. Okay. Very simple concept of Pushkara Navamsa working in a chart.
Wow.
Okay. Another chart here. Steven Spielberg. Okay. This is a very, very, very powerful chart. Why? Look at the planets Jupiter and Venus. Okay. Venus is Atma Karaka also. Jupiter is Amatya Karaka. Okay. This is the Gemini Karakas.
Right.
Atma Karaka means soul, which signifies soul. Amatya is your profession, work. They are sitting in the 5th house in Pushkara Navamsa, in Vishakha, second pada. Okay. Now look at it. Jupiter is also the 10th lord and it is also the 7th lord. Okay. And Venus, as I said, if you have to be good in movies and films, your Venus and Rahu has to be strong. Okay. So Venus is sitting in the 5th house of creativity. Okay. With Jupiter and Moon. Moon is second lord of wealth. Okay. Moon is second lord of wealth.
Right.
Venus is also 5th lord. So imagine 2nd lord, 5th lord, 10th lord combination in 5th house. Don't you think it's a very, very, very powerful yoga?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So although you say Jupiter might have Kendradipati dosh, being the lord of the 7th and the 10th, okay, it is sitting in Pushkara Navamsa. Now, show me another director who is more successful in the history than this man. His personal wealth today, okay, is about 2 billion. That is what is written about him.
Exactly. Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. Okay, easily 2 billion. And look at the films, some of the great films, you know, Jaws. Okay. Jurassic Park. These are two things which instantly come to your mind. You know, Schindler's List.
E.T.
E.T. Yeah. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Raiders of the Lost Ark. All these things, you know, look at how many awards, Academy Awards that he has won, the best picture, Oscar, so many things. So it is very, very powerful. 5th house is also about acting. 5th house is, you know, also gives your Purva Punya. Okay, and no aspect of any malefics on this combination. No aspect. Okay. But it is believed that he had a very troublesome childhood. Why? Because see, Mandi and Gulika are sitting in the 5th house.
Sitting in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Did it cause any problems with the children? I
do not know. We have to check if it is. All I know from this chart is he had 2 marriages. Okay. First marriage he had 1 son, and the second marriage he had 7 children. This is what 7 children. Out of that, many were adopted by his
that's right. They were adopted children too.
Adopted children. So something related to do with, because it's Mandi and Gulika, which are also sitting in the 5th house of his children. Okay, but many children. Why Jupiter, Venus? Jupiter is Karaka of children in the 5th house.
We should do a class one time on Mandi and Gulika.
Yeah, definitely we'll do that. Okay, so do you get the concept?
Yeah.
A very, very successful director and extremely accumulated over $2 billion only with his association with this. Okay, he was not born rich.
No.
Okay, he was not born rich. So, okay. Finally, I'll take one more chart on Pushkara Navamsa is Napoleon.
Okay.
Now, Napoleon's chart, you look, he has his moon, which is sitting in Uttarashada, 4th pada. Now, I said 4th pada of Uttarashada becomes the Pushkara Navamsa pada. Also, I said it becomes the virtual Abhijit Nakshatra pada. See, in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna says, amongst Nakshatras, I am Abhijit. Okay? Amongst Nakshatras, okay, I am Abhijit. See, what our Shastras say is, Abhijit is the only Nakshatra which is masculine. All other Nakshatras, 27 Nakshatras, are feminine. Why? Because they
are wives of the moon.
Yes, they're called the wives of the moon. That is exactly why. Okay? So, amongst all of these, the most powerful is Abhijit. Okay? But there is a mythology why Abhijit is no longer being used is because Abhijit Nakshatra, Duryodhan, okay, of the Kauravas, he goes to Sahadev. Sahadev is one of the 5 Pandavas of the great legend Mahabharata. Okay.
Yeah.
He was a great astrologer, extremely good astrologer.
Right.
Okay, Sahadev. So he goes to Duryodhan goes to Sahadev and he asks him, what is the best time to commence the Mahabharata war so that I can destroy the Pandavas? Now, Sahadev is his enemy. He's sitting on the other side, right? But Sahadev, he still tells him, if you start your war in Abhijit Muhurta, or whenever Abhijit Nakshatra is operating in the Abhijit Muhurta, okay? See, there is a difference. I want to just clarify. Abhijit Muhurta is different. Abhijit Nakshatra is different. Abhijit Muhurta operates every day, okay, at 12 noon and 12 night. 28 minutes after 12 noon and 28 minutes before 12 noon is Abhijit Muhurta.
Okay.
Okay. And similarly, 12 night in the midnight, 28 minutes before 12 midnight and 28 minutes after 12 midnight is Abhijit Muhurta. Krishna was born in Abhijit Muhurta at midnight. Sri Ram was born at Abhijit Muhurta at midday. At 12 o'clock midday, Sri Ram was born apparently, and Shri Krishna was born at midnight, 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. And that is
how long is the duration of this Abhijit Muhurta? Is it 28 minutes all of it, or maybe 2 minutes out of it, or 1 minute out of it?
No, usually the peak is at 12, okay, and 28 minutes before and 28 minutes. So it is totally 56 minutes in a day.
Okay.
It's called Abhijit.
Okay.
Sorry, 56 plus 56. Okay. So midnight also you take. Okay, so 56 in the midnight and 56 in the afternoon. Okay. Many of them in the Muhurta Shastra, they believe that it is Abhijit is only in the afternoon. Okay. K.N. Rao has clarified in the interview which Saptarishis did on Sri Ram's chart and Sri Krishna's chart is clarified from Harivansh Puran. Harivansh Puran says Krishna was born in Abhijit Muhurta. So which is, how can it happen? Because Krishna was born at midnight. Right? Yeah. So there is a Abhijit Muhurta even at midnight, and there is Abhijit Muhurta even at daytime. Now, Abhijit Nakshatra is different. Why? Abhijit Nakshatra only is these 4 degrees which fall between 6 degree 40 in Capricorn to about 10 degree 53.
Right.
Okay, that's a different thing. But imagine if it is Abhijit Nakshatra is operating when the moon is transiting, and if you commence anything at 12 midnight or 12 afternoon, fruits are extremely good.
Right.
Because Uttarashada is called the invincible star. You can never get defeated. Abhijit means, the word Abhijit itself means can never be defeated, or the undefeated. Jeet means to win. Abhi means one who cannot be defeated. Yeah. Okay. So Duryodhan knew that if he commences the war in Abhijit Muhurta in Abhijit Nakshatra, that he would be invincible. Right. Now, Shri Krishna understands this, that a foolish Sahadeva, he was not foolish, he was only being truthful. Okay? He gave out the secret to Duryodhan. So what Shri Krishna does is, one, exactly around that period, he creates a solar eclipse.
Oh, now I remember. Yes, in the actual Mahabharata series, they showed that.
Yeah. And through his wisdom, what he does is he converts Abhijit Nakshatra. Okay, it is called as Vega. Okay. Vega is the star Vega. Okay, English word star Vega is called Abhijit. Okay. That becomes a supernova. He converts it into a supernova. The star explodes and becomes a supernova. So that is why today we do not use Abhijit.
I see.
Okay, we do not use. Only for Muhurta we use Abhijit, but not as a star. But this is the virtual zone where the Abhijit falls, which is Uttarashada, 4th Pada. Okay. Okay? It's a virtual zone. Okay. Anyway, so all I wanted to show in this chart is Look at all the wars which he has fought, and Moon is sitting in the 4th house of his motherland. He was the greatest military strategist in the history, and he dominated European affairs for almost 2 decades, leading from France. And most of the wars which were coalitions, they were not wars, they were called coalitions. They were called as Napoleonic wars. A series of coalitions were termed as Napoleonic wars. Sometimes they were no wars at all, but they were just a coalition. Okay, so he was victorious in most of the wars. Okay, people say he was never defeated. Anyway, that doesn't. But basically, what I wanted to show you is it is also a Pushkara Navamsa Pada.
Yeah.
Okay, Moon is his 10th lord of karma, sitting in Pushkara Navamsa in the 4th. So some pending karma towards his motherland. Okay, so he fought all the wars for his motherland. Okay, anyway, let's go. And you see, it is also aspected by the 4th lord, which is Saturn.
Yeah.
Okay, and Mercury, which is also the 9th lord. Okay, Bhaga. Fortunes. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you these two concepts, and the last concept which I have showed is whenever any planet falls in a particular degree, okay, in the zodiac, they become Pushkara Bhaga.
Now, can this also occur in, like, you you look at Nakshatra in Navamsa chart, the Samsa chart? Can this concept be read there as well, or no?
It's a very smart question. And if you ask me, I have not tested it, but my gut feeling is it should work.
Because I remember you were talking about the who was the Kingfisher guy?
Yes.
Shaka Nakshatra and Samsha to do alcohol business.
Yes.
So that's something I related to this chart just now.
Yeah, it is absolutely correct. And I know I don't want to name a Western Vedic astrologer who uses this concept to such perfection. Extremely. Yeah, I have seen, especially I have seen 2 Western Vedic astrologers. In Indian astrologers, I have not seen. Indian astrologers, I have very rarely seen use the nakshatra aspects for divisional charts.
Okay.
But I am a great proponent of using nakshatras and the degrees in all divisional charts. If the chart is correct, it should give you exact results, precision. Okay. Anyway, but I do not want to confuse many people. That's why I've always been taking Rashi charts, because once you go into divisional charts, then people will
exactly.
We might get confused. But it is absolutely right. It should work in every chart.
Okay.
Every divisional chart, and that. So if it is, for example, if it is Dashamsha, okay, your D10, okay, if some planet is falling in a Pushkara Bhaga, okay, you can turn on the degrees in Dashamsha as well. In Pushkara Bhaga, look at the Dasha or Antardasha of that nakshatra or that planet which is sitting there, and look at it how it has gone. I'm saying let us experiment, because see, even I have not tested it.
Right.
So let us all put in some effort and see if it works. If it works, if it doesn't work, then we have to see there could be something which is some riders which we do not know.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, so let me give an example now. Now this is the most beautiful example I've given my classes as well. Okay.
Okay.
This is Victoria, Queen of England.
Okay.
Queen Victoria. Now, I wanted to show you her ascendant is in Rohini 2nd Pada. Okay, 2nd Pada, Rohini, and at Pushkara Bhaga.
Wow.
Okay, 14 degrees 45. Okay, 14 degrees 45. 14 degrees is between 14 and 15 degrees.
Okay.
Okay, is where the Pushkara Bhaga is. So 14 degrees 45 is her ascendant, and it is sitting in Rohini 2nd Pada, which also becomes Vargottamsha, which also becomes Pushkara Navamsa, and also becomes Pushkara Bhaga. I told you that only apparently Shri Krishna had ascendant and moon both in this particular zone.
Yeah.
14 degrees. Now look at this. Okay, Queen Victoria. She was the daughter of Prince Edward. Okay, and she ruled Britain as queen for 63 years. She is the longest serving monarch in the history of the world, or the longest served monarch, I would say, who has been 63 years monarchy. No break. Can you believe it? One person.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and during that time of her reign, okay, there was a lot of industrial growth which happened. Okay, the economy became, and England became the richest nation on earth during that time. And it was said during those times that the sun never set on the British Empire. Why? Because they had almost, 1/3 of the world was controlled by the British Empire.
Right. Yeah. I remember that term.
Yeah. The analogy was, they say the sun never sets on the British Empire. So 1/3 of the world they controlled. Okay, they became the richest nation on the earth. Okay, this is partly because the power of Rohini is called as Arohana Shakti. It's the power to ascend and to grow.
To grow.
To grow. Okay. Now look at it. Even her sun and moon are in Rohini Nakshatra. Okay, they are in first pada, but Rohini Nakshatra. Okay, Rohini Nakshatra is called as a Dhruva Nakshatra, which is fixed and permanent. So whatever you do in a permanent nakshatra gives you permanent success and achievements.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a beautiful example where all the three concepts that I have taught you works perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay. So monarch, the longest serving monarch for 63 years in the history of the world.
Okay.
Another one which I want to quickly show you here is Pushkara Navamsa and Pushkara Bhaga operating together. Okay, William Butler Yeats, who is an Irish poet, okay, a Nobel laureate, okay, for his poetry and novels, and people used to love his poetry. Okay, and he had many lovers. Okay, having said that, he had many lovers. He was especially enamored with one lady, okay, who was 23 years old. Her name was Maud Coney, right? He never married her, but he was passionately in love with her, and he dreamt about her for 30 years of. And they say, it was an erotic or erotic relationship that they had, or they say, but they never married each other. Okay, so yeah, they never married each other. So you see that Venus is with Ketu there in this chart. It is Vargottama. Sorry, it is for Pushkara Navamsa as well as in Pushkara Bhaga. So if Venus in this chart is the fifth lord, okay?
Yeah.
Venus is the fifth lord because it is Capricorn Lagna. Venus is the fifth lord. Now, fifth lord is, as per Bhavat Bhavam principle, it's third from third.
Yeah.
Fifth house. Fifth house is third from third, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Third house is all about writing, poetry, all of that. And Venus is poetry. Okay. Venus signifies poetry. So he became a Nobel laureate. He became a great novelist. He became extremely popular. His poetry became extremely popular. Even today, his poetry is extremely popular. You see, the Ajiva Karaka became very powerful, but the Jiva Karaka suffered. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Because look at his thing is aspected by a retrograde Saturn and a Rahu also. It's a Rahu Ketu axis. It's a karmic axis.
Yeah.
Okay? And Venus is very close.
And then functional malefic Jupiter looks at Venus as well.
Correct. Absolutely.
And debilitated Mars is in the 7th house, so obviously the relationship, marriage-wise, will always be power struggles.
Yes, absolutely true. That is true. And 7th lord, you see.
Yeah.
Mars is also aspecting the 7th lord, which is Moon.
Moon, yeah.
Okay. So all of these. Anyway, so basically what I wanted to show you is the Jiva Karaka was impacted, but his Ajiva Karaka became extremely powerful.
Okay.
Okay. Nobody wins Nobel for literature, very easily. Okay. When you say it's a Nobel laureate, you have to know, he has to be extremely good.
Yeah.
Okay. So
perfect.
Yeah. And Venus is Amatya Karaka as well. Okay. So that was his.
So his work had to do with arts and creativity.
Art, creativity, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So this is something that you can always predict looking at these.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, this is powerful, and including the Amatya Karaka, I found it to be the most powerful, especially with careers.
Yes.
Amazing results with Amatya Karaka.
Amazing. Amatya Karaka, very great results you get.
Exactly.
Yeah. One of my gurus actually told me that when ascendant is weak, okay, or the lord of the ascendant is weak, if the sun is also weak, if the moon is also weak, okay, then you always look at Atma Karaka. Okay? What does Atma Karaka tell you is, irrespective of the circumstances in your environment, your soul will try to achieve its goals.
Yeah.
Irrespectively, it will try to achieve its goals. The purpose of its birth is it tries to achieve.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens is, whenever your moon is very strong, your sun is very strong, your lagna is very strong, that is when Atma Karaka might take a backseat. Or it might not be so very evident. But when all the focal planets become weak, that is when Atma Karaka takes the lead. And irrespective of whatever it is, it will try to achieve its soul's purpose.
And that is through the Amatya Karaka.
And that is through the Amatya Karaka. Very good.
Right.
Yeah, that is through the Amatya Karaka. Very well said. Okay. So I think that brings us to the end of today's lesson.
Perfect.
I know. See, actually, what I was instructed, Sunil, when I told him I want to do this lesson, he told me just take one concept. Okay, just teach them either Vargottamsha or Pushkara Navamsa or Pushkara Bhaga. But they are so very closely interlinked.
Yeah, they are. No, exactly.
Yeah.
That you had to show it, because otherwise it's going to be like half done painting. Like you just painted the whole thing. So definitely shows that.
Yeah. So that is why I thought, let me do all the three together. So then your students or your viewers will be able to appreciate that they are very closely linked to
exactly. Perfect. Okay. Absolutely.
So Kapil, any queries that you have, or anything we could take that up?
No, I mean, pretty much whatever I was asking you throughout the thing made all that more sense. And especially, like, I wanted to know about the degrees of the Dasamsha may also give these Pushkara Navamsha points, so which you clarified. Now, are you teaching, I know you got courses coming up. Can you talk about that? And are you going to be using these concepts in any of the in detailed form in any of your courses, so people can join them?
Correct. Kapil, I will be teaching this in a course that we're going to start on 10th of January.
Okay.
See, Nakshatras are so very deep, and today I had requested you also that let us have 2 blind charts. Let us do 2 blind chart readings. See, why I told you to give me those blind charts is, one is you have to know that Nakshatras really work very, very, very well. Okay, if you know that the time is correct, Nakshatras work brilliantly. I've given so many excellent predictions. Although we are not in the business of predictions, and I repeat again, I do not do consultations either free or paid. Okay, but I can tell you 1 or 2 predictions which even stunned Sunil. Okay, and I just wanted to see if I can do that. If I can replicate that with taking 2 blind charts. See, the thing, what I have seen with today's students is, one is you have to be thorough in your basics and your foundation has to be very strong. Secondly, you should never fear to make a prediction or to yourself. You don't have to make predictions to prove yourself or to prove a point. You make predictions so that your understanding of the basics and your concepts are clear.
Yeah.
Okay. I do predictions only because I want to see whether a concept is working or not. That's it.
Okay.
I'm not interested in knowing whether it was right or it was greatly successful or greatly, no. But what I found with nakshatras is they can give you so deep information and knowledge that will astonish you. Okay, let me give you an example.
Okay.
And you always give the best examples, but I also would like to, add to it that I have failed miserably many a times. But it is okay to fail. But if you do not fail, then you will not learn.
Not learn, yeah.
Yeah. So be bold. I tell all my students, okay, you come up with, some reasoning. It might be okay. It might be flawed. It might not work. It might, but you will realize that okay, this didn't work because of these reasons. You have to go and look and do a post-mortem of why you failed. That doesn't mean that Jyotish doesn't work.
Yeah.
I have failed means I am not capable of doing it. Okay. It doesn't mean that Jyotish doesn't. We do not know Jyotish.
That's what I tell people. Astrology is never wrong. Only astrologers are.
Astrologers are wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? Jyotish is never wrong.
Yeah.
And let me tell you a couple of things. I got a chart from a family member. They wanted me to do a chart reading. I refused. I said I do not do chart reading.
Yeah.
Okay, but they said okay, it is for matrimony. It's some marriage making. I said I do not do that either. Okay, but they said okay, no, please have a look at the chart. Okay, I said fine, I'll have a look at the chart, and I will just do rectification of the chart just by looking at nakshatras. Let me try it. So I took it as a challenge. I asked the native a question. Okay, it was a lady. I asked her, Ki, do you have a Rudraksh? Does your mother wear a Rudraksh? Okay, Rudraksh is a, I don't know, it's a seed.
Yeah, it's a,
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is called as Rudraksh because it is called as a teardrop of Shiva.
Shiva, yeah.
Okay? Yeah, teardrop of Shiva, that's why it's called Rudraksh. So the girl said, no, my mother doesn't wear a Rudraksh. Okay, I said, okay, I might be wrong. That's fine. But I said, do you have Rudraksh somewhere? Then the girl immediately said, yes, we have a Rudraksh sitting in our home. Okay, in our home, in the puja room, we have a Rudraksh, which we keep that, but we don't wear it because we eat meat and Rudraksh is very pure, so we cannot wear it. I said, fair enough. So actually, whenever I said mother, because I was looking at the 4th house. Okay. So I thought it was mother, but then I realized it was 4th house is also home.
Home.
Okay. So it was there. So why I thought it was Rudraksh is because I saw her moon was sitting in Ardra Nakshatra, aspected by,
I know, I was thinking about that. Yeah.
Ardra Nakshatra and aspected by a malefic. I can't remember. It was either Rahu or Saturn. Okay, whatever was it. Okay. So just out of inquisitiveness, I just asked. I could have been wrong, but it was Ardra. Ardra is the teardrop of Rudra.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the first thing. Second thing I asked her is, okay, about her father. I knew from the native that her father had died very young when she was hardly 4 years old. I asked, did your father ever wear a big, prominent diamond ring? Or did he have a diamond ring in his possession which was very prominent or very, very expensive? The native said, yes, he had a diamond ring, okay, which was very, very expensive. But 3 days before he had a heart attack and he died, he lost the diamond ring. Okay?
Wow.
He lost the diamond ring. Now, what made me ask whether it was a diamond ring? Because if I recollect, I think I saw Venus was sitting in Chitra Nakshatra. We just talked about it. Yeah. Okay? We just talked about a sparkling, stone.
Yeah.
Chitra Nakshatra. So, and it was Venus. So that's
why did you say father with Venus and Chitra? Was it in the 9th house?
It was in the 9th house. Okay, it was there, or it was in the 8th house or something like that. It was the 9th lord sitting in the 8th house. Okay, ninth lord sitting in the 8th house in Chitra Nakshatra, something like that. I think it was Mars. It was Mars, not Venus.
Okay.
With conjoined with Venus, something like that. And then she said her father expired and he lost the diamond 3 days before he died. He lost the diamond. So that also could be seen from the chart. Okay, the death of the father and losing of the diamond can also be seen from the chart.
How so?
Okay? Because it was the ninth lord sitting in the 8th house of exit. Okay.
Exit. Okay. But the losing of the losing of the diamond.
Losing of the diamond was only a way of saying that you have lost the good luck or your charm. It was a nimitt.
Okay.
It was nothing to do with. I couldn't have predicted he has lost the diamond.
Okay.
Diamond.
Okay.
Okay. But I saw that he must be having a very sparkling gem, which is very expensive.
Yeah.
It was Venus and Mars together or something like that. Fun combination.
Okay.
So that also came through. That was the second one. Now the third one. The third one I asked her is, you say that you have been having issues with getting your marriage, or you've been having a lot of requests for matrimony, but nothing is materializing. So I said, go to your room, wherever you are, wherever you stay, and go to the bed. Is it a foot-on bed? Foot-on is, when you have 4 legs.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, if it is a foot-on bed, bend down and see at the front end of the bed, is there a crack at the bottom of the bed? In the one of the foot, is there a crack, or is it broken, or is it very uneven?
Okay.
Okay. So the ladies went down, the girl went down, she looked up and she said, yes. She said the front right hand leg has a crack and it seems to be a little bit imbalanced, which means it is not exactly standing, but it is balancing itself, but it is broken. There is a crack.
Okay.
Now this was my third prediction. Okay. Again came bang on right. Why? Because I saw there was some planet which was sitting there and a malefic aspecting. It was in Purva Falguni. Okay, some planet sitting in Purva Falguni and it was aspected by a malefic. Okay.
Most likely Ketu, because Ketu represents cracks.
Yes, I think it was. I think it could be Ketu. Okay, it was sitting there.
And you're saying Purva Falguni or Uttara Falguni, because my Putra Falguni is the bed, the 4-legged bed.
Yeah, even Purva Falguni is, you say, the front legs of the bed.
Front legs of the bed. Okay. Yeah.
And Uttara Falguni is hind legs of the bed.
Hind leg. Okay, I see. Yeah, you're right.
That is why I asked her the front leg. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a crack there, and she was right. And I said, if you have to fix your marriage, you have to fix that leg. Once you fix that leg, I think your marriage will immediately happen.
Okay, so what planet was sitting in this nakshatra?
If I recollect, it was a 7th lord which was sitting there.
Sitting in that nakshatra. Okay.
In Purva Falguni.
Purva Falguni.
7th lord.
Okay.
Purva Falguni. It was sitting there. Now 7th lord, I knew that it was relationships, it was marriage, and because there is broken, every time some matrimony comes, she says it used to break. So I said, fix that leg, front legs of Purva Falguni, and your life will be great. Now after that, I have not talked to her whether it has been fixed, or I've never got a chance to speak to her to see if because I do not do it professionally. It was a family member, and that is why I had to do that. But see, nakshatras can give you very deep understanding.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So looking at the, what I said, Rudraksh, looking at the foot on bed and there's a crack there, all these things, I don't think if I knew just Vedic astrology, I would have been able to make a prediction.
No, absolutely. I mean, especially when people do not know their time of birth at all.
Yeah.
You can pretty much forget even the moon chart or the ascendant. Just take a moon chart and read the nakshatras. That's it.
Correct.
And you can, there's also the methods where you divide the nakshatras into 3 parts, 9, 9, 9, and the second nakshatra from the moon will give happiness. The third nakshatra from the moon will give problems.
Deepak, yes.
So what you can do is, if there's a planet in third nakshatra from the moon, you'll be like, this thing is giving you unhappiness, and so you can do
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, if you look at your dasha,
Arjun, I cannot hear you anymore. Hello? Dr. Arjun Pai. Guys, I think we lost him, because I know he was having problems with freezing computer. So hope it went on for the whole thing. So that's great. Just remember, if you want more information from Dr. Arjun Pai and want to get the lessons on the nakshatras, go to saptarishisastrology.com, SAPTARISHIS astrology.com, and that's where they have their lessons coming up in January. And that's where they have all the other details, informations, their articles, their books, everything. So you can find these fine-tuned information there, including the courses. So I think he got disconnected. So, but I guess since we already have our majority of the information, thank you, Dr. Arjun Pai, for giving us your time and your valuable time and this valuable information. Thank you.